Leadership in Captain America Civil War. I will mainly be focusing on the characters, Captain America, Iron Man, and the relationship between King T'Chaka and his son T'Challa as well. Because those are the main characters that have something to do with leadership that I noticed in the movie. There are many scenes where leadership is displayed by these characters. There are also many more that I won't be talking about in detail, but this leadership is displayed on three different levels, being individual, group, and organizational. Captain America Civil War is a great movie to use as an example of leadership, as the superheroes in this movie are all great leaders in their own right. Iron Man throughout this movie was in war with Captain America, mainly because of the actions the Avengers had committed and the consequences the world around them had to face due to those actions. There was S.H.I.E.L.D., but they were working with the Avengers, so the Avengers never had a higher authority to stop them from making decisions on their own. Iron Man realized that during a debate with the whole Avengers team after being told they will be shut down if they do not agree to terms with the United Nations. There's no decision making process here. We need to be put in check. Whatever form that takes, I'm game. If we can't accept limitations, we're boundarless. We're no better than the bad guys. In this quote, Iron Man clearly realizes the consequences to the Avengers' carelessness and tries to plead with the rest of the team and get them to realize what they've done. It takes a strong willed person to realize their mistakes at such a global and catastrophic level, but an even better leader to accept it and get their team to understand it as well. To lead a team like the Avengers with people that could all be leaders themselves, to also have them follow you, it takes a great ethical leader, which Iron Man clearly is. King T'Chaka was a great example of an old type of leadership theory, which is the great man theory. It's a pretty loose example, but I thought due to the succession of leadership in Wakanda, where if the king were to die, it would go on to their oldest born child, this being T'Challa. That it was very, or it was kind of similar to how the great man theory is, but not to a T. My main point being leadership doesn't last forever, and in a succession situation, you have to be able to have somebody in your family ready to pick up the mantle of leadership after you've passed. So after King T'Chaka passed away during the United Nations meeting, having a son such as T'Challa, uh, ready to be a great leader after King T'Chaka died was very important in the leadership of Wakanda. Just like having someone trained to be a leader after you pass away is very important. In the opening scene in Lagos, the Avengers were trying to stop a group of terrorists from getting a bioweapon and using it for evil purposes. The main leader of the Avengers at the time, being Captain America, did a great job delegating and communing well with his teammates what to do in a calculated fashion. He showed many different leadership traits that are essential for any leader to be successful in managing and directing a team. This goes for any professional environment, not just for the Avengers in the movie. Also, he has made personal connections with each of his teammates, which is an essential part of the complexity leadership theory, which is a modern leadership theory that believes in making personal connections with the people that you lead, which allows them to be more willing to follow you into battle or anything else you may be leading them to and for. It shows in the Avengers' ability to work well in a team setting that they are very comfortable taking orders and following direction from Captain America, which proves Captain America is a great leader. The main example of organizational leadership in Captain America Civil War is when the United Nations came together to make the Sokovia Accords, which mandated the Avengers to only act when the United Nations pass a vote for them to be able to defend against a threat they deem worthy. The Avengers were acting with no authority over them, which caused major damage to the world. This caused the Avengers to either do what the United Nations said or retire as a whole. Nobody had ever checked the Avengers like this up until now, and it took many things like when Loki attacked New York, Ultron making a whole city a floating island, and even the damage caused in the opening scene of the movie in Lagos, to finally have actions taken at an organizational level to contain the Avengers. This took a great amount of unity between the leadership of all the countries of the United Nations to come together to make this decision. This also started a break in the Avengers, which caused two sides to form under the leadership of Captain America and Iron Man, causing the Avengers Civil War. On the individual level, there were many examples of leadership displayed in Captain America Civil War, but what shocked me most was that there were multiple ties to leadership theories, old and new, with the Great Man theory being loosely tied into the movie with King T'Challa, as well as the complexity theory with the personal relationships between the Avengers to allow for Captain America and Iron Man to be able to lead their sides of this Avengers Civil War. I learned a lot about how people act in a group/team setting, and also how different types of personalities connect with different types of leadership. With Captain America and Iron Man having different ideas on how to continue on with the Avengers, seeing these different leadership styles, from one being more ethical in Iron Man's approach and one being more traditional in Captain America's approach. Watching the other team members of the Avengers fall in line under these two leaders was very interesting to watch. I was interested to learn about how such a big organization like the United Nations can easily get people like the Avengers to follow what they have to say, and it shows how much power leaders have or can have when they come together at such a global scale. Even though the Avengers are such a powerful group, they pale in comparison to what these leaders of all the countries in the United Nations can do when they come together to act as one force of leadership. The individual and group levels were similar in the fact that one individual is still leading a group of others, even though there were different leadership styles and theories used in each of the categories. The similarities of the two were very evident throughout the movie. Organizational leadership in this movie was so much different in how the individual and group leadership categories acted in the movie. Due to the fact that the United Nations were such an overwhelming force in the movie, the Avengers had to just agree to terms with them, even though some of them followed Captain America and became threats to a certain degree.